Scientists at the University of Warwick have discovered a planet which shows potential to support human life.
The James Webb Space Telescope has started a new era in space exploration by giving us a view of the universe that has never been seen before. James Webb has given scientists a better look into space than ever before with its high-tech equipment and cutting-edge technology. Its clear view of the universe is better than that of any other observatory. The telescope recently made a find that not only pushed the limits of science, but also turned its attention back to Earth and hinted at effects that go far beyond what we know now. The science community is excited and a little nervous about this finding. The James Webb Space Telescope found a mysterious object far beyond our solar system. It was in a part of space that scientists had thought was not very active. This finding wasn't just a normal look at a faraway galaxy or a new star. Instead, James Webb found a strange object in space that was sending out a mix of signals that didn't match the patterns found in known scientific objects like stars, planets, or even black holes. Scientists have given the object the unofficial name Artifact X because it had properties that didn't fit with normal models of astronomy. Artifact X sent out strange electromagnetic radiation patterns when the telescope first took pictures of it. These patterns included a mix of infrared light, X-rays, and even bursts of radio waves. The signs were picked up and off, and there was no trend that could be linked to any known astronomical event. The signs made it seem like the object wasn't just a normal stellar body, but maybe something completely different, even something made in a lab. Even though this is a very unlikely possibility, it has led to conversations about the chance of alien tools or objects in our galaxy. This finding has huge scientific implications, and it suggests that we need a new way to think about these kinds of things. Finding signs from Artifact X makes us question what we think is normal and what is manufactured. If these signs are really a way for advanced civilizations to talk to each other or leave beacons, it could mean that we are not alone in the universe. This would make us rethink our place in the universe. If the signals are natural, they may point to unknown physical processes or cosmic entities that have eluded discovery until now. This would mean that our current knowledge of the world is still very basic. Even more amazing is that Artifact X showed a behavior that made the puzzle even bigger when it was looked at more closely. Signals seemed to be sent back to Earth by it. The way this reflection worked was different from how light bounces off the surface of a planet or moon. Instead, the signals that were mirrored seemed to have different parts, like they were being changed or modified before they were sent back. This process has been compared by some experts to a type of cosmic echo or even a signal relay system, but no one knows how such a system would work. As James Webb continued to collect more data, scientists found that the signals coming back to Earth had a weak but recognizable pattern that looked like organized data. There have been a lot of theory studies on this pattern because it might contain data of some kind. Researchers are trying to figure out what it could mean. If the signs are carrying information, the hard part is interpreting them, which is a lot like trying to figure out a message written in a language you don't know, maybe one made by an alien intelligence. The idea of getting a signal from another planet is not new. Scientists have long thought about the possibilities of meeting intelligent life in other parts of the world. But James Webb's work with Artifact X is the first time that a space telescope of this size and power has found these kinds of signs that might not be random. You have to wonder who or what could be behind the signal because of how serious the effects are. Is it a natural event in the universe that we don't fully understand yet, or is it a relic from a long-ago society that has since died out or been forgotten? Because these reflections are so strange, scientists are looking into a lot of different ideas, and each one is just as interesting and scary as the last. One idea is that Artifact X might be an old probe or a piece of alien technology that has been floating around in space for millions or even billions of years. This could mean that humans have found proof of another society, one that may have existed before humans on Earth by an unimaginable amount of time. Artifact X might not be still according to another theory, which suggests that it might be moving on purpose. It's possible that the signs it sends are like an emergency call, a beacon, or even an ancient way to find your way that has been used for a very long time. Some more fanciful ideas say that the signs could come from a kind of intelligence that is very different from what humans can understand. Some scientists have even thought that these signs might come from life forms that live on timescales, dimensions, or scales that are completely different from what we know about biology and physics. In this case, the signs coming back to Earth could be a way of communicating that we don't fully understand yet. To do so, we might need to create a new field of study called alien linguistics or non-terrestrial information theory. As a result of this finding, scientists and physicists are now putting more effort into studying Artifact X and other strange things they have found in space. The search for alien intelligence, which was once seen as an unimportant field of study, is becoming more important again, especially since the usual theories for Artifact X keep failing. It's no longer just about finding radio signs from faraway stars. The search also includes looking into how strange cosmic things that haven't been named behave. James Webb's discoveries have effects on more than just the search for life beyond Earth. They also have effects on how we understand basic science. Signals interacting with Artifact X could mean that strange materials or undiscovered quantum effects are present, which could completely change our understanding of how the world works. If the object has special traits that let it change electromagnetic waves or other types of radiation in new ways, it could help us understand quantum communication better or even come up with ideas for warp drives that let us move faster than light. At the same time, the thought of an alien object or signal reaching Earth makes us feel uneasy for some reason that can't be explained. When we think about the possibility that something from another world could change its signs to look like they are coming from us, we feel scared. If Artifact X really is a piece of history from a long time ago, then why would its messages be aimed at Earth? Is it just a chance, or could there be something important about our world or our solar system that makes someone so far away want to pay attention? It's not possible to ignore the disturbing idea that Artifact X's signs could be a way to spy on people or even a message whose meaning is still unknown. The finding not only helps in the search for extraterrestrial life, but it also opens up new ways to study the past of the universe from long ago. If Artifact X is a man-made object, it could hold information about events in space that happened a long time before our solar system formed. Studying such an object could help us understand what the universe was like in the beginning, giving us clues about how galaxies, stars, and even life itself have changed over time. We would be like people who found a library floating through space full of books about the past of the universe and ready to be read. With this finding, the idea of interstellar archaeology, studying the remains of long-dead civilizations, becomes a real science field of study. Prior to Artifact X, this idea was mostly found in science fiction. However, its presence has changed the circumstances. It means that the world might be full of artifacts from long-ago civilizations, pieces of technology, or even whole spaceships that have been left behind and drifting through space for thousands of years. Finding one of these objects with James Webb could mean that there are many more out there ready to be found and studied. Also, finding Artifact X brings up deep moral and spiritual problems. People have always thought of themselves as a special species, with brains and imagination that no other species has. But the idea that there might be another society, especially one that could send signs across interstellar distances, makes us rethink how we see ourselves. Are we a new species about to become part of a galactic group, or are we latecomers who missed the best time to explore the universe? The fact that the James Webb Space Telescope was able to find such an object and the signs it sends out shows how powerful it is and solidifies its position as a key piece of future astronomical study. As scientists continue to clean up the data and look closely at the information coming from Artifact X, there will be a lot of work that needs to be done by telescopes all over the world. Other space telescopes, like the Hubble Space Telescope, might be asked to look at the object from different bands. Radio telescopes on Earth could also join the search to find the source of the strange sounds. When you look more closely at the things that have been seen about Artifact X, you can see a lot of strange things that don't make sense for known objects in space. One of the most interesting things about Artifact X is that its electromagnetic profile is very different from what is expected from stars, black holes, neutron stars, and even strange objects like pulsars. Most celestial bodies give off a steady range of bands that are related to their chemical and physical makeup. However, Artifact X's signals seem to change without warning. The emission spectrum changes from bursts of X-rays, gamma rays, infrared light, and even radio waves, both in terms of how strong they are and what kind of light they are. This complicated and varied emission pattern points to either a changing process inside the item or an outside force working on it in ways we don't fully understand yet. A theory that is gaining support says that Item X might be surrounded by a complicated magnetic field or a unique type of plasma. This could naturally speed up or slow down electromagnetic waves. The changing signals might be caused by charged particles stuck in the magnetic field, which could give off different kinds of radiation based on how they combine with cosmic rays or other particles. This fits with some natural events that happen near neutron stars or magnetars, but Artifact X doesn't have many of the other features that these kinds of things usually have, like spinning quickly or having strong gravity fields. The location of Item X in the galaxy is another interesting topic. Its coordinates put it in a part of space that not many people know much about. It is far from well-known star-forming regions or big cosmic objects like nebulae or star clusters. Scientists aren't sure where Item X came from because there isn't any major star activity nearby. Some people think it might be a rogue object, which is something that used to be part of a bigger system but got thrown out when it collided with other celestial bodies. If this is true, figuring out what threw it into its current location could help us learn more about how old star systems worked or about things that happened between stars that we don't fully understand yet. Scientists are still not sure what to make of the strange behavior of the Artifact X signals that seem to be heading back toward Earth. After looking more closely at the signal echoes, it was found that they seem to change in some way, which could mean that the signal has some kind of structure or design. Not all of this modulation is random. Instead, it shows some order, which could mean either a natural resonance effect or intentional encoding. If this variation is caused by an unknown physical process inside the object, it could mean that it contains strange matter or materials that have never been seen in other parts of the universe. Researchers have also noticed that the signals seem to be changing frequency over long periods of time when they are looked at closely. The object's slow change in frequency and sudden bursts of intensity have led to the idea that it might not be inert but instead have an active component. This active component could be a natural phenomenon like a spinning magnetic field or something more man-made like an old machine that is still working at a reduced capacity. It's possible that Item X is some kind of technology antique, even if it's broken or abandoned. It might still be able to send out residual signals, like a spaceship that keeps sending out faint signals long after its original purpose has been forgotten. There is also the question of time, which makes things even more difficult. If Item X is very old, it may have been around before both humans and the formation of our solar system. This means that it formed at a time when our galaxy was very different from now. Things might have been much different back then, with more massive star crashes or even events on a galactic scale. Some of the strange things about the item might be explained by the idea that it was made or changed during one of these early cosmic epochs. But that kind of situation would also make people wonder about how it is being preserved. How could something, whether it's natural or man-made, last billions of years in the galaxy's rough environment? Another possible explanation is that the object might be protected by a shell made of an unknown substance that keeps it safe from cosmic radiation and the wear and tear of space. Some of the strange signs that have been seen might be caused by this made-up shell interacting with cosmic rays or the solar wind, which could create electromagnetic effects that aren't usually linked to known materials. The makeup of this possible shell is completely guesswork, but it could be made up of some strange matter, like a stable form of dark matter or even a material that we haven't even found yet in our knowledge of chemistry. Some scientists have thought that the signs coming from Artifact X might be a message or warning from a long-ago society for future species that will travel through space to find. It's not crazy to think about leaving a cosmic sign or a time capsule behind. After all, humans have sent ships like Voyager 1 and 2 into space with messages for any alien life that might come across them in the far future. If Artifact X has the same purpose, the information it holds could be encoded in a way that humans and current technology can't read, so they would need new methods or technologies to figure out. This has sparked a lot of interest in areas like computer linguistics and cryptography. Some experts think that if the signs from Artifact X are really a way of communicating, they might need a totally different way to be decoded. Instead of using human language structures, an alien message could be coded using mathematical factors, patterns of prime numbers, or other sequences that everyone can immediately understand. It's hard not only to find these kinds of patterns, but also to tell them apart from cosmic noise that happens naturally. The results about Item X are also important for our knowledge of how celestial objects change over time in a more general science sense. If Artifact X turns out to be a natural event, it might show a stage of star development that hasn't been seen before. It could be the remains of a certain kind of star that fell under unusual circumstances, creating an object that doesn't fit into the usual categories of black holes, neutron stars, or white dwarfs. This could mean that there are other kinds of stellar remains out there in space that haven't been explored yet, ready to be found. Astrophysics would be completely changed if a new type of things were found in the universe. It would mean that the processes that lead to the last steps of stellar development are more complex than we thought. Scientists would have to come up with new ideas and models to explain how these kinds of things form, what conditions help them form, and how they interact with their surroundings. This might also help explain other strange things we don't fully understand in space, like the location of dark matter, since these objects may have unique gravity qualities that help explain how galaxies are put together. Artifact X's strange behavior may also hold signs about mysterious things happening in the universe. It could give us new information about how high-energy cosmic particles behave or be used as a nature laboratory to study how electromagnetic forces combine on a scale that is much bigger than what we can do on Earth. According to scientists, studying the object could help us learn more about how energy moves and is spread in the world if it really is magnetic or can make strange radiation. It's also possible that Item X has something to do with the beginning of life. Some very extreme ideas say that the object could be like a seed or cedar in the galaxy, spreading the building parts of life over very long distances. This idea, called panspermia, says that life might not only happen on Earth, but could also happen in space, with living things or biological material moving between star systems on spacecraft. Even though this is just a guess, the strange signals coming from Item X have made scientists wonder if it might contain organic molecules or other signs of prebiotic chemistry. While the James Webb Space Telescope keeps looking at Artifact X, it is likely that other cameras and tools, both on Earth and in space, will join the search for answers about this strange object. There are already plans to use radio observatories, X-ray monitors, and gamma-ray cameras to get a fuller picture of how it behaves. This method uses many wavelengths to look at how different types of radiation affect Item X and see if there are any changes across the electromagnetic spectrum. That could help us figure out what it is made of or how it is put together. One of the most important questions about Item X is where the signs it sends come from. The irregularities in these signals, they come at random times and have a wide range of wavelengths, make it possible that they are not actually from the object itself, but rather from Item X interacting with its surroundings. For example, some experts think the object might be stuck in a part of space that has a lot of dark matter particles or strange cosmic dust. Electromagnetic signals that look organized or patterned may be made by these interactions, even though they are made by random processes at the subatomic level. On the other hand, the signals could be affected by gravitational lensing from a large object between Item X and Earth that can't be seen. When a huge body, like a black hole or galaxy cluster, bends the path of light or other electromagnetic waves, this is called gravitational lensing. This can change the shape or strength of signals from a background source. If this effect is happening, it means that the strange properties of Artifact X's messages are not caused by the object itself, but by complicated gravity interactions happening at great distances between stars. There is a new way to look into things because gravitational lensing might be real. Drawing these effects on a map could help us figure out where dark matter or other big things are in the universe. The spin and movement of item X are also very important to look into. Based on what we know so far, the object's spinning has an odd pattern that is neither smooth nor random. Instead, it seems to follow a cycle that is almost daily. An unusual type of motion for natural celestial objects, which generally spin in predictable ways based on their angular momentum and the pull of nearby things. The fact that item X's spin changes over time suggests that it may be affected by torque or other outside forces. These forces might come from the tides that happen when objects' gravitational pulls on each other, or they could come from inside item X, if it really does have parts or systems that can cause such changes. It's also strange how item X moves through space. Many objects move in fairly stable paths around the center of the galaxy, but item X seems to be moving in a way that doesn't follow the rules of normal orbital dynamics. It seems to be speeding up and slowing down at regular intervals, as if reacting to some kind of outside force or motion. This movement might be caused by natural events, like being caught in a tug-of-war between two very heavy things or traveling through areas of the interstellar medium with different densities. But if the accelerations aren't natural, it could mean that item X has some kind of propulsion technology that turns on and off as it moves through space. This technology may have been dormant for a long time or be broken. More questions have been raised about the function of artifact X because it's possible that it has or had some kind of power in the past. If it is man-made, its irregular motion could mean that it was launched with a specific goal or target in mind, but has since become lost, either because its systems aren't working right or its energy sources are running out. In this case, item X could be an old spaceship, a machine that can copy itself, or even a piece of a war between stars. Astrobiology and SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, theories support the idea of an ancient probe. These theories say that technologically advanced civilizations may have sent machines to explore the galaxy on their own before their creators were able to travel between stars themselves. The idea that item X could be a self-running machine makes it harder to figure out what its signs mean. If the object was made to be an intelligent or semi-intelligent probe, its signs could be the result of systems on board trying to talk, send data, or carry out its set instructions. The signal's odd behavior might not be a sign of chance, but rather the result of an automated process based on rules set a long time ago. Decoding these signals could then give details about the probe's purpose, the people who made it, or the data about the surroundings it has gathered on its trip. However, because such a product would probably be very old, it's also possible that the signs we're picking up are just noise from systems that have long since broken down. There are many ideas about where item X came from and what it's for, and it's also an interesting case study for the study of material science in space. It's possible that item X is made of materials that are much stronger than anything humans have access to right now because it has been able to survive in the hard conditions of interstellar space. Over millions or billions of years, most known elements would normally break down when they are exposed to cosmic radiation, extreme temperature changes, and micrometeoroid strikes. Artifact X can still be found, which means that it either contains materials that are very durable or is covered by a type of shielding that current science does not understand. Finding out what this item is made of could lead to big steps forward in materials science, possibly producing new types of protected coatings, alloys, or even self-healing materials that can handle the stresses of spaceflight. On top of that, studying item X might help us understand how time slows down and how relativity affects space. If the object really has moved over very long distances, relativistic physics suggests that time may have passed differently for it than for objects that have stayed still in relation to the center of the galaxy. Depending on how fast item X has moved and the gravitational settings it has been in, the passage of time for this object may be very different from what people experience on Earth. In theory, item X might have some kind of time signal built into its atomic or subatomic structure. This could be studied to learn more about how traveling at very high speeds or under very strong gravity affects matter. The results of this type of study could have big effects on not only space travel, but also theoretical physics and how we think about time itself. Artifact X also makes us think about the morals and duties that come with exploring space and making touch with possible alien objects. If the item is man-made and may have been made by a society that no longer exists, messing with it or trying to bring it closer to Earth for a closer look is dangerous. There may be unknown risks involved with manipulating it, such as biological pollution if it contains old microbes or the unintentional activation of systems that were not supposed to be active. There is also a moral question of whether people should be able to mess with the remains of another society or whether these objects should be left alone as cultural relics of the universe. These moral concerns include what would happen if we found an alien device that might have information or technologies that are far beyond what humans can currently do. The desire to take advantage of any possible new technology could lead to unfair access or misuse, which could lead to disagreements over who controls and interprets such information. Also, figuring out how Item X works could lead to a big step forward in technology, but it could also have unexpected effects, like speeding up the use of weapons in space or upsetting the way things are done in society and the economy right now. As with any new technology that changes things, there would need to be a set of rules for its responsible development and use, one that balances science growth with people's overall needs. The ongoing study of Item X has already led scientists from many different fields to work together in ways that have never been seen before. Astronomers, physicists, engineers, computer scientists, and even thinkers are working together to figure out what the data means, make models of possible outcomes, and get ready for the chance of a finding that has never been seen before. This partnership is not only making the study of Item X more advanced, but it is also leading to bigger changes in how we look at data, run simulations, and do research across disciplines. For example, machine learning techniques are being used to look for trends or oddities in the huge amount of data that James Webb creates that humans might miss. This process is helping to improve methods for studying cosmic signs in a broader sense, which will help astronomical studies in the long term. Artifact X has also led to the creation of new tools that can be used to study and observe things in deep space. Because the object might be important, money and time have been put into making detectors more sensitive, improving existing telescopes, and even creating whole new tools that are just for studying strange things that happen in the universe. Not only do these new technologies help us understand Artifact X, but they will also help future projects that want to study the cosmic microwave background in more depth, explore the outer worlds, or look for exoplanets. In this way, the search for Artifact X is already leaving behind a scientific and technical heritage that goes beyond the current study. Finding Item X also brings up interesting questions about the future of space travel and our place in the universe. If we really have found proof of an alien device, it would show that intelligent life is not just something that happens on Earth. Realizing this could push people to make exploring deep space a top priority, speed up the search for exoplanets that might have life, and even spark ideas for interstellar travel. The basic reason for exploring space would change in a big way. From focusing on short-term useful benefits like getting resources or protecting planets to learning more about our cosmic neighbors and the environment of the whole galaxy. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.